Aaron Palouse with Vista Defense Training. Wanted to discuss holsters for pistols. With the concealed carry movement becoming greater and greater, gaining more and more momentum, folks are buying pistols and obviously needing to carry them in some form or fashion. One thing that you definitely want to do is make sure that whatever holster you have retains the pistol, covers the trigger guard completely so that Murphy can't get in there and cause any problems, and you want to make sure that you get a full firing grip on the pistol. You don't want to come up with a half-baked grip and then have to readjust it, because once you get into the fight, the chances of you being able to readjust your grip are considerably reduced. So what I'm going to do is go over some of the holsters that I've found that work well for me over the years. There are lots of different options. There's Kydex, there's injection molded plastic, there's leather, there's hybrid type plastic and leather or synthetic type backers, inside the waistband, outside the waistband, belly bands, ankle holsters, off-body carry. So what I wanted to do was just highlight some of the basic categories, talk a little bit about the holsters in a little bit more depth, and just kind of give you an idea of what to look for. Also go over a couple of the pitfalls of buying some of your first holsters, and maybe help save you some money from making some of the same mistakes that a lot of us have made. We're going to start out with what holsters not to buy. These inexpensive nylon pancake type holsters, they're not worth the money. Most everybody, including myself, starts with something like this, and it just isn't a really good holster. The only real retention is a thumb brake, set up for a left-handed person in this case. When you go to reholster, because the holster itself collapses, you generally have to reach across with your support hand to open up the holster as you're putting the gun back in. The problem is you tend to cover your hand or your arm as you're reholstering. You can also try to kind of wiggle the muzzle in here, but it really doesn't work real well. They're inexpensive. I suppose there's probably a use case for something like this, but I just can't think of any offhand. But do yourself a favor and just don't start with something like this. Go with a leather or Kydex holster that we'll be covering here shortly. The next holster type we're going to cover is an inside the waistband leather holster. This particular one is for my Glock 21. This is from AKJ Concealco. The next type of holster we're going to cover is, in this case, a leather inside the waistband holster from AKJ Concealco. This is for my Glock 21. I wore this for a lot of years before I switched over to 9mm, simply because of the cost of 45 ammo. This is a what you call kind of a semi-custom holster. Added a little bit extra money to have this sweat guard put into the holster itself, but it works really well. It stays open because of the extra material up here. The belt goes through these two loops, and it is very comfortable. It allows the holster molds to your body, and leather tends to burnish the finish on the handgun instead of scratch it like Kydex generally does, or plastic. If you can find one of these holsters on the used market and still in good condition, I would highly recommend taking a look at it. Unfortunately, the gentleman that makes these holsters is no longer making them. He had some health issues and had to close up his shop. But like I said, if you can find some on the used market in good condition, definitely worth a look. The next one we're going to talk about is outside the waistband plastic type holster. In this case, an injection molded Safariland GLS holster. This is not unique anymore in the market space. There's a couple other manufacturers that are doing this type of holster that will fit multiple types of firearms. In this case, this one is set up for a 1911, but other models and manufacturers that are similar to the 1911 will fit in this holster. Simply just adjust that screw right there for the different types of guns that would fit in here.
The holster comes with a level 2 type retention. You simply push this button as you're gripping the pistol. Your middle finger is going to deactivate the lock, slide the pistol out, and you're ready to go. I'm not real crazy about the attachment point here. It is a little bit flexible so that the belt will slide through and it'll conform to your body a little bit. The problem is if you're running a thicker type of belt, like a Wilderness Tactical Instructor type belt with Velcro on it, the loop side that goes through here, it becomes quite stiff when you get to that point on the belt and you're trying to put it on. I'm not, like I said, not real crazy about the attachment point, but it seems to get the job done. And if you've got multiple firearms of similar size, this may be a good option to have one holster that fits multiple firearms, so you're not spending a huge amount of money on different type of holsters. The next holster we're going to look at is a Kydex type holster, and in this case it is a BladeTech holster for my Glock 17 with a Surefire X300 Lite. This is a really rugged holster. It has the SR loop on the back so that the belt fits through it. There's no adjustment, so you buy the loop to match whatever belt size you have. In this case, the majority of my carry belts are going to be 1.5 inches, so the 1.5 inch slot on all of my holsters that use BladeTech, that's what I've standardized on. I really like this type of mount to the belt. It works really well, very rugged, and as a general rule, once you put it on, it stays in place. It doesn't tend to move around like some of the tech locks they carry. Some of the adjustable ones where you've got a bar that raises and lowers to fill the gap so that you don't have any space, and as you're drawing the pistol from the holster, the holster itself doesn't tend to slide around on the belt because it matches the belt exactly as it should. 2 retention screws so that you can adjust the attention of the holster and gun fit so that as you are pulling out the gun, it doesn't just flop out, but it takes some resistance and a little bit of effort to pull it out. So BladeTech makes some good stuff. It is made in the USA. It does tend to be a little bit on the more expensive side. You're probably looking at like $70, $80, $90 for a holster along these lines. While we are still on the Kydex outside the waistband type of carry, this is a BladeTech mag pouch and flashlight combination. Holds a double stack 9mm magazine, and in this case a Surefire 1-inch bezel face down type of connection. This also has the SR loop on it. Again, works really well for me. Retention screw in the center so that you can adjust so that as you're running down the road or doing whatever it is you're doing normal activity, the magazine and the flashlight stay in place. Another option would be the hybrid type holsters where you've got a some sort of leather or synthetic backer, a Kydex shell, and in this case this is a Alien Gear Cloak Tuck 2. I did a video review about 3 months ago on this particular holster. Works really well. Another option for your concealed carry needs. Really boils down to how you're going to be dressing and what size firearm you're going to be carrying. And also your body type. Some folks find that inside the waistband just doesn't work. Others find it quite comfortable, like myself. So another option to take a look at. A belly band is another type of holster that you may want to consider looking at. In this case, this is a Crossbreed Holster belly band. What you do is you put this around your body, snug it up, and then this particular flap comes over and traps the holster between the body and the belt itself so that it does give it some stability. The nice thing about this particular setup is you can buy multiple holsters for different size guns, and it's just a matter of literally swapping them out. So you buy the belt once and then just the different type holsters for whatever carry gun you choose. I have been wearing this a little bit lately. I'm not sure that I'm really keen on it. I find that if it is at my belt line or a little bit below my belt line, so the belt comes, say, top right about here, it works pretty well for most type of pants that I wear. There are a few pants that I find kind of uncomfortable, so this one you would wear in more of an appendix position. So, you know, if this is the center line of your body, it's off to the side just a little bit versus on the side or back at a 5 o'clock or 4 o'clock position for inside the waistband type holster like the AKJ Concealco. This probably shines really well if you are wearing some sort of clothing where you can't have a belt that actually holds it in place, say sweatpants or running shorts or something along those lines. It might work well for you. The last category we're going to look at is off-body carry. In this case, this is a Wilderness Tactical Safe Packer. Works quite well for what it's designed for. It just kind of looks like a nondescript mapped case, but there's actually a firearm in here, in this case an XDS-9, spot for a spare magazine, so as you are reaching in while this is on your belt, you're able to draw the gun. The Velcro here pulls apart so that you can draw the gun and come up and finish your draw. Works quite well. This is a newer model. I had one a number of years ago that has since gotten MIA, but it works really well. It has the ability for you to have a handhold strap here. You can do an optional shoulder strap that ties onto these two D-rings. You can run it through a belt. You can also move it, attach it to a belt of some sort that you don't have access to the end, so you can wrap it around simply by breaking those two pieces of Velcro there, and it works quite well. Has a small little pocket here on the side. I suppose you could put wallet, keys, something in there. In this case, I got a business card so that if this ever does go MIA, I can hopefully find its way back to me. A little inexpensive carabiner to hang my keys off of, which isn't a bad idea. So if you're not actually physically have this on your body, you can clip your keys on there and you're not going to be going very far, so it'd be you'd find out relatively quickly that it is not on you. That is a problem with off-body carry, is you got to be very careful that you don't put this thing down somewhere when it's not physically in your possession, tied to your body either through the shoulder strap or the belt carry itself. It looks relatively nondescript, kind of looks just like a map case. It's got a little bit of padding in it. I don't know how well that would work to protect the firearm. You really just need a thin layer of material to keep the firearm from getting scratched and knocked around. But at any rate, looks kind of like map case. This is another good alternative. Also works really well if you're a bicyclist. You can, like I said, break that loop Velcro, attaches to the handlebars. It's ready to go right there in front, so you can grab the gun if you need to and go. When you get to a stop or lunch or whatever the case may be, it's easy enough to take it off, grab the handle and take it inside. When you come back out, reattach it to the bicycle and you're good to go. I also carry this when I go hiking. It fits even a larger belt on some of my packs quite easily. It does tend to slide around a little bit, but it works really well, so you can carry a gun with you at all times. It does come in different sizes. This one is designed for the compact Glocks, the Springfield XDS in 9mm, like I showed you previously. Works really well. Holsters are one of those things that you're just going to end up with probably a box full of holsters at some point. You thought that one would work, one didn't work for you. You're just going to end up with a bunch of holsters. It's just really the way it's going to be. Although some manufacturers today are allowing you to test drive their holsters, and if you don't like it, return it for a refund. That's quite nice. So it's just one of those things that you're going to have to look at the way you dress, the way that you are wanting to carry the gun, look at the options that are out there. This is just a small sampling of what is available in the holster market. Talk to some friends that have been carrying longer and find out what works for them. So it's just one of those things that you're gonna have to figure it out and spend a little bit of money on the way out, or excuse me, on the way in. The nice thing about some of the better holsters is they do hold some of their resale value, so that unless it's just totally trashed, you can sell it to the next guy, and you won't necessarily recoup all of your money, but at least you'll get some of it back. So train hard, stay safe.